Here we are together again on the radio. And I saw this story while I was on vacation. And it was one of those stories that when I saw it, I said to myself, I would like to be back at work right now. I would like to not be on vacation. I would like to be working. Because it's just so juicy. This is a juicy story. If you are a Tom Leykis fanatic, if you subscribe to what I believe in, if you find yourself defending the Tom Leykis Show, on top of that, if you find yourself defending the things the professor says on this program, more scientific evidence that bears out what I've been telling you for years. Now, as you know, your professor has been through the school of hard knocks. Not the school of knocking up. That was another school. I went to the school of hard knocks. I have made every mistake. Everything I teach you boys to do is based on my having done it wrong in the past. I don't pretend to be perfect or to have been born perfect. Quite the contrary. I always had to put my hand over the flame to see if it burned, and it always did. And then after my flesh was peeled away, I taught other people not to do that. Many times based on my years, in fact, decades of experience. I have come on this program and told you from my experience about various things that are realities of life. And many of you call up and yell at me or argue with me, and some of you even say, well, prove it. And my response is frequently that I'm not claiming to have empirical evidence. This is something I just know to be true based on experience. And as you know, and it's happening more and more recently, things that I have said on this program as opinions based on years of experience have been backed up by empirical evidence, by scientific proof, by data, by studies. Many times, things I've told you in the past turned out to be scientifically provable. And this is one of those times. This is something I've been telling you for years. Now we've got numbers. We've got data. We've got a study that proves what I've been telling you. You won't like it, ladies. Especially you smart-ass, chunky broads who are nearing 40 and can't figure out why you're not married. But the story's right here. Dateline London, England. Here it is. A study by 4 British universities, published in the Sunday London Times. That's a newspaper, girls. Ask your boyfriend about it. Your husband. This is a study by 4 British universities. Not 1. 4. It says that a high IQ is a hindrance for women wanting to get married, while it is an asset for men. Are you hearing me now? A woman with a high IQ, it's harder for her to get married. A man with a high IQ, easier. But they got even more specific. It says here, the study found the likelihood of marriage increased by 35% for boys for each 16-point increase in IQ. But for girls, there is a 40% drop for each 16-point rise in IQ. The survey was taken by the universities of Aberdeen, Bristol, Edinburgh, and Glasgow. 4 different British universities. The study is based on the IQs of 900 men and women between their 10th and 40th birthdays. Now, I'm going to read you a quote that I disagree with because some of the interpretations of this study, as usual, have been perverted. This is Paul Brown, who is a psychologist and a professor at Nottingham University. This is what he said in the Sunday London Times. He said, women in their late 30s who have gone for careers after the first flush of university and who are among the brightest of their generation are finding that men are just not interesting enough. Come on, you pussy. The reason for this is because men don't want to be with a big-mouthed broad who has to lord her intelligence over us. We don't want it. When a man wants to talk politics, he gets with his buddies. He goes to a cocktail party. We don't want to come home from work after a tough day at the office and sit there and debate. We don't. Women with high IQs can't shut up about it. Says here that Claire Rayner, writer and broadcaster, said in the article that intelligent men often preferred a less brainy partner. Now, this is a woman, and I completely agree with what she has to say. This is Claire Rayner, writer and broadcaster in England. She said a chap with a high IQ is going to get a demanding job that is going to take up a lot of his time and energy, and in many ways, he wants a woman who is an old-fashioned wife, who looks after the home, a copy of his mom in a way. Right on, Claire. You're right on the money. Bottom line. Now, here is a column written by Bonnie Urbay. You know that name, Bonnie Urbay? Didn't she used to work here at one time? Back when one of the 27 companies that comprised Westwood One was called the Mutual Broadcasting System. Didn't she work for Mutual? Way back when, I think. I think she did. Bonnie Urbay wrote a column, and I'm going to read it to you. She wrote this, I guess it was a syndicated column for Scripps Howard. And here's what she says. Here we go again. It's let's demoralize career women time. Only in this latest version, the criticism disguised as social research is coming from the other side of the Atlantic. Disguised as social research. Note she throws the science right out the window in the first paragraph. She says it's been almost 20 years since America was disrupted by a study claiming that a single woman over 40 years of age was, quoting Newsweek, more likely to be killed by a terrorist than to wed. Never mind whether it was statistically accurate, Bonnie. Never let the facts get in the way of a good op-ed piece. Those researchers, who were shortly thereafter widely discredited, she says, gave her a 1% chance of ever marrying after 40 if she hadn't done so before. The not-so-veiled message to career women? Trash those ambitions and hitch up soon. Luckily, she says, researchers more devoted to accuracy quickly came along and corrected the first findings. Women over 40, they divined, were getting married. They were just getting married later. Perhaps our British cousins forgot that we'd already been down that road. They modified the methods of the first study, but have issued new research with similar motives. See, now she's implying that there's no science involved at all, that these people have sexist motives. Sunday Times now reports that the universities of Aberdeen, Bristol, Edinburgh, and Glasgow have proven that, quote, a high IQ is a hindrance for women wanting to get married while it is an asset for men. Ah, yes. The new study by 4 universities, guess one isn't enough, she says, finds the later likelihood of marriage for boys increases by 35% for each 16-point increase in IQ. But for girls, there is a 40% drop for each 16-point rise. The British researchers base their findings on the IQs of 900 men and women between their 10th and 40th birthdays. Psychologist and Nottingham University professor Paul Brown told the Sunday Times women in their late 30s who have gone for careers after the first flush of university and who are among the brightest of their generation, finding that men are just not interesting enough. The Times also quoted writer broadcaster Claire Rayner as saying intelligent men often prefer a less brainy partner. Other foreign media reporting on the story wrote that, quote, successful career women are struggling to find interesting men who are interested in them. Relationship experts say professional men prefer to marry women like their mom who will provide the domestic support while they go out to work. And we do. might I add. Again, the not-so-subtle message is that if women try to succeed in the work world, romance and family must be cast aside. But it's the survey itself that is rubbish and should be tossed overboard. Granted, women in the United Kingdom seem to suffer more sexism than we here in the United States, despite the fact that the women's movement is credited to have begun in England in the mid-1800s with the publication of John Stuart Mill's On Liberty. It is more than slightly ironic that Americans have done a better job of moving women forward than the country whence our inspiration came. Well, there's no doubt that this country is full of chunky broads with short hair and big mouths who think that we should buy them dinner and buy them drinks, and then once we marry them, we should go pleasure ourselves because they don't want to touch us with a 10-foot pole. And our libraries are stocked with books of feminists who have written that a man having sex with a woman is tantamount to rape. Yeah, we're full of that here. Doubt about that. Margaret Thatcher notwithstanding, the piece goes on to say, women here enjoy more social, economic, and career freedoms than do British women. Let's hope, however, British women do not buy into the theory that females must be less intelligent, less interesting, and less successful in order to marry smart, accomplished husbands. If, in fact, that is the case, it's not just the women who lose, it's the men as well. After all, why would an intelligent, charge-ahead type man or woman want to spend his life with a partner so radically dissimilar and out of touch with the world the other partner inhabits? That sounds to me like a recipe for divorce. Not all smart men find or want smart wives. Not all smart women find or want smart husbands, but generalizations that get more detailed than this are dangerously fraught with the likelihood of decidedly unscholarly error. Well, you know what? I didn't have to be a scholar. I'm a college dropout, and I'm telling you, as a man of means, as a man of success, as a man of accomplishment, I don't want some chunky, short-haired, mouthy broad mouthing off when I come home. I don't. And most of the accomplished men who I know feel the same way. We come home, we want to forget about our high-powered, high-energy jobs. We want to come home, get our feet rubbed, get some hot food on a plate, and then we want to get done to a tender turn, and that's it. That's what we want. Bottom line. And I've told you that the more intelligent a woman is, the more she can't shut up about it. You just have to face facts, gals. If you're 40 and sitting there in a high-powered job wondering why men aren't falling at your feet, it's time to face the facts. No man of success wants to come home to a dark and empty house while you're in a meeting or on a business trip or giving a lecture somewhere. We're just not interested. Face it. You can sit there and come up with excuses for it all you want, you know. Men are boring. You're so intelligent that listening to a man is boring. Fine. You go right ahead and believe that. Yet all of these magazines with advice columns, all these daytime talk shows are filled with the sad, sappy sob stories of women of accomplishment who have to get artificially inseminated, women who can't find anybody to be the father of their children, women who can't find men who are willing to commit. That's all they talk about. They can't shut up about it. No man wants to be committed to anyone who gets home after we do. Face it, ladies, we don't. Now we've got scientific evidence that proves what I've been telling you all along. Can you accept it?
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM. 1-800-5800-866.
When one of your boys becomes a puss, you got to do like an intervention.
I will get all of my friends in a room someday, and we'll just, grab some foam bats, and we'll beat the pussy right out of them.
That's right.
The Tom Leykis Show.
Leykis Show, 1-800-5800-TOM. That is our telephone number. Joanne on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, Joanne.
Yes. I feel really embarrassed saying this, but I totally agree with you. I completely agree with you. I'm 35 years old. My husband is a stay-at-home dad, and I make six figures. It wasn't always like that, but, we have a house keeper, so he gets to, surf when the kids are in school and mountain bike, and I completely take care of him. And I'm home, by the time the kids get home, so he has the best of both worlds. But I also completely agree with you that when women divorce their husbands, they should get nothing. And it drives me up the wall when women are moaning and groaning, well, I spend all this time with him. Well, you know what? You walk away with what you walked in with. And my friends just go nuts when I say that.
Yeah, because women think that we should be renting them.
I don't get it.
I mean, it's prostitution up and down the line. There's the legal and the illegal prostitution.
And, my girlfriends are just going absolutely nuts because, they don't understand why I, according to them, allow my husband to stay home. I don't allow him to stay home. He's spending more time with our kids, and he's being a great father. He's not out, doing stupid stuff and banging every chick in sight. He's being a father, and I'm thankful that I can make the kind of salary that I make, that we can do that together, and then I have these girlfriends that all they do all day is shop while their husbands are out busting their butts. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And then they're moaning and groaning through the whole divorce that they're trying to get as much money from them as possible. I wouldn't want to be emotionally tied to a man or owe a man anything if I was divorced or, getting a divorce from him. It's like, you know what, get off your fat butt, get a job, and make it on your own. Why would you want to owe anybody anything? I just think it's diabolical. It drives me nuts.
Well, women don't want to owe men anything. They want to get all of the benefits of being women, all the traditional benefits. We buy the drinks. We buy dinner. We have to ask you out. You get to say no or yes. We have to sit there and face rejection all the time. We have to drive you to the date. We have to sit there and wonder whether or not you're going to put out. We have to wait for you to decide what you're going to do. And after we've done all of that, if we end up with you, then we have to pay the majority of the mortgage, the majority of the rent, the majority of the electric bill, the cable bill, the gas bill, the clothing, the groceries. And yet, women don't want to perform all the traditional wifely duties. They don't want to do it.
The Tom Leykis Show.
Los Angeles. 1-800-5800-TOM. Heather on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hello, Tom.
Hello, Heather.
It's nice to talk to you.
I know.
Yeah, I've recently become an avid listener, and I agree with you on most topics, but this generalization that intelligent women have to be frumpy or ugly, I highly disagree with.
But they generally are.
Okay, well, I know...
even if there are exceptions to the rule, that's generally the rule.
I'm not so sure about that. I mean, from my personal experience, I know a lot of very...
So the women with high IQs are a bunch of 9s and 10s?
Actually, I know quite a few. I can...
Ever been to a Mensa meeting?
No, I am not a member of Mensa. I've never tried for it.
Well,
I know what it is, yes.
Yeah, you ought to go to a Mensa meeting sometime as a guest or something and take a look at the women there.
Are they all frumpy and ugly?
Either chunky or homely, yeah, I would say, generally speaking, yes.
Okay, well, I can't speak from that experience because, like I said, I've never been to a Mensa meeting. But from the women that I know, I do know some very intelligent women.
Yeah, the fact that you may know some doesn't mean that's the general rule.
I just can't say that I know any fat, ugly women.
I'm not saying they're all fat. Some of them are just plain looking. Some of them are homely.
Okay. Well, maybe that's your experience. But I did want to...
Well, I always use as my example, anytime Fortune magazine, which is certainly a respected and conservative magazine, publishes a story or a rundown about the 50 most powerful women in American business. Now, clearly, these are women who have high IQs, highly motivated, work late, travel a lot, and you get a look at those women.
Yeah, but how smart can you be if you're devoting your entire life to your work and you have nothing outside of that? I mean,
I don't know how much time they devote. I only know that successful people devote a lot more time at the office than not successful people.
Absolutely, but I'm just saying, I think that there's a happy medium there.
No, but I don't think there is a happy medium. I do believe that the more you work, the more successful you become.
Oh,
the less a woman has going for her, the harder she's going to work.
I agree, but what I'm saying is that I think that you can find a happy balance in your life where you can be an intelligent woman and you can be a beautiful woman and you can have a great life and still have a...
Well, the fact that you can doesn't mean that most do.
Okay, well, maybe I'm just speaking for myself and for
Well, stop taking it so personally, dear. You might be a freak. You might be the exception to the rule. So what?
Okay.
So what?
I'm just speaking from my own personal experience.
But, dear, we're not talking about any one person. We're speaking in general terms about a general population. In general.
Okay.
And generally what I say is true.
Okay.
I mean, whether it's women in politics, women in business, look at the photos. I mean, the hottest chick I can think of. The hottest. What, Condoleezza Rice?
Oh, my God.
That's about as good as it gets. Name someone hotter than her in government right now. Go ahead.
Oh, come on. Hillary Clinton's better looking than Condi.
Please. Please.
Condi is not an attractive woman.
I didn't say she's an attractive woman. I said she's the most attractive.
Okay, I'm not talking. I mean, people in politics, though, they devote their entire
Name a hot chick in politics. I'm listening.
I can't.
That's right.
Because
that's my point.
Is a hugely devoted...
Name a hot chick who owns a business that is not Oprah Winfrey. By the way, Oprah Winfrey, in my view, is not a hot chick. But name somebody who's not in the entertainment business, who is a hot chick who runs a big company.
I can't because...
Because there isn't one.
No, that's not true, actually.
Name one.
I work with plenty of business owners in Huntington Beach.
I'm not talking about somebody who owns, like, an answering service on PCH. I'm talking about CEOs of major companies.
Okay, well, I can't. Unfortunately, I'm
that's
not...
That's right, you can't.
Really big. I'm not really big into business, so that's not...
Most women aren't. And those who... And by the way, the fact that you're not really into business says to me you're probably more attractive than those who are.
Okay, well, you know...
If you were not that attractive, you would care more about it because you'd have to find some way to pay the bills. Less attractive women have to work harder because no man will pay their bills.
No, but I do work hard, but I'm saying I want a life, too. And so
but again,
happy balance.
You must have some level of attractiveness to even think that way.
Okay, so I have to have some level of attractiveness in order to think that I want a life. What if...
No, in order to think you can actually have one.
No, I don't want my entire life to be money.
Chunky, homely women ultimately will be very successful in business if they know what's good for them, because Prince Charming is not coming to her house.
Okay, I understand that. I'm just saying that I don't think that money is everything to all women. And
no one said it is. In fact, the question is not whether women want to have a lot of money. The question is whether they have to come up with it themselves or whether a man is going to come up with it for them.
See, I come up with a fair amount for myself.
Right now, dear, but you're 19, you're not married yet, you don't have a family yet, so right now you come up with your own money. So do you plan to get married?
I may get married in the future. I do not plan on it anytime soon.
Dear, well, you're 19, but I'm talking about down the line. What do you want to be when you grow up?
I would love to be a small business owner. I was a manager of a small shop in Huntington Beach, and I loved my job, and I loved dealing with the customers, and I had a great time. And
how much money did you make?
A good amount for my age. I'll put it that way.
How much was that?
About $120 an hour.
You made $120 an hour working for a small business?
Yeah, because I was also working off of commission.
What were you selling?
Actually, I was a dog groomer.
You were a dog groomer.
I'm a huge pet lover.
So is that your hope in life, is to own a dog grooming business?
Oh, no. I don't. It depends on what the market needs at the time. I don't have to follow my dream and what business I want, or what type of business I want. As long as I can find what the market needs at that time and make it successful, I think I'll do just fine.
And what university are you going to?
I am currently not enrolled in the university.
There we go. And that says to me that you're more attractive than average. Because if you were less attractive than average, you'd be in college, all right.
But I would be going to college.
You would not be grooming dogs for $120 an hour and then going out on Friday and Saturday night. You'd be in school hitting the books.
I actually, unfortunately, I was making the money, but I was having a good time, and I was...
That's my point, darling. You see, you're making my point for me. You're attractive, and therefore you don't think you need to go to college, or you don't choose to go right now, or you may never choose to go.
Okay, well, at least I'm just saying that there is a happy medium and that you can meet that...
But, dear, you're not in a happy medium. You're not going to college. By the way, how old were you when you graduated high school?
15.
15. So 4 years you've been partying and grooming dogs. What have you been doing? What school did you go? What college did you attend?
I actually attended junior college because I
13th grade. That's where all the hot chicks with no ambition go.
But I moved out when I was 15. I had to support myself. I've been supporting myself since I was 15.
Right.
And even though I was making $120 an hour, it was difficult to support myself and make my car payments and make my payments on my insurance and keep my health insurance.
So what are you doing for a living now, dear?
Unfortunately, I was injured on the job, and I had to leave my dog grooming industry and go into a lower-level position as a marketing representative.
What do you sell?
Actually, I sell for a major company.
What product? I don't need to know the company.
I don't know how to explain it.
You sell it. You don't know how to explain what you sell?
Okay, fine. I'll just say I work for Sam's Club and I sell memberships right now. I just got into that.
You sell them. That means you stand at the counter where people come in?
No. I deal with small business owners.
So how do you find them? You call them on the phone?
Yes, I...
So you're a telephone solicitor?
No, and I set up appointments, and I come out to their location. I explain the benefits of, what I'm soliciting, yes. And I explain the benefits to them, and they decide whether or not that's an option for them and their business.
I see. And so I didn't know Sam's Club specialized in hiring the disabled, and that's...
No, I'm currently in physical therapy, so, it's a wrist injury. But it's not something I can't go back into the grooming industry.
I see. So you take a little detour to Sam's Club. How about going to school during this period of time? Maybe you do that while you're recovering.
Because I don't have the money to go to school right now.
I see.
I'm not making the money I was.
But you don't need to because you're attractive.
Okay, so you're saying I should just go ahead and find somebody to take care of me?
Ultimately, now, I'm not saying what you should do. I'm saying that in your mind, and that's what this is all about, in your mind, you know you have that option. Which homely, chunky broads do not have that option.
But that's not an option for me.
It is an option for you. You may not choose to exercise it, but it's an option for you.
Okay, it's an option if it was a road I chose to go down.
No, it's an option. Just because you don't exercise every option you have doesn't mean you don't have it. As an example, dear, I don't have that option. I don't have it. I have to be here chained to my desk every day.
Okay.
No woman is going to come up, no attractive woman is going to come along and say, I'll pay the bills.
Okay.
I'll give you money. You don't have to do a thing. You just stay home, dear. Well, attractive women don't do that.
Okay.
Right? So I don't have it as an option. Now, by the way, I wouldn't want to do that anyway.
Right.
But guess what? I don't have it as an option. You do.
Okay.
And that's why you'll spend your time at the dog groomer and Sam's Club and not go to school. And then you go to junior college. Well, then you're out of junior college. You're in, you're out. Because you know, even if you in your head right now you have no plan on exercising this option, it's there.
If I had no morals whatsoever and I wanted to grade myself that way, then...
Well, dear, it's still there.
But it's okay. It's an option, and you're correct, but it's not something that I'm willing to exercise.
I see. So instead, you'd rather go the junior college and Sam's Club route.
Absolutely, because I would rather take care of myself and have my self-esteem and know that I am a good person and be happy with who I am than degrade myself in that manner and subsequently destroy any moral fibers that I have.
Oh. I'm starting to think about this. Maybe you're not as attractive as I first thought. It's the Tom Leykis Show. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. David on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hello. Yeah. You know, it's kind of funny. A clinical psychologist said with men, there's a triangle. Taller, richer, smarter. A woman might settle for two of those. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. Women date up. They marry up. And we have an educational system, which Christina Sommers called the Women Are From Venus, Men Are From Hell system, which, 90% of the behavior drugs are given to boys. Then they go home at night and watch TV. Now, Steve Allen said he learned to be a gentleman through the movies. The only time he didn't have a father, but those were his teachers.
Right.
The only time I saw Everybody Loves Raymond, there were 3 women were talking about his bowels. And he was in the room.
Right.
That's how you treat a 6-month-old. Then they go to college, and they really get it in the neck. Potential rapist lists and whatever else. So men drop out. You are making demeaned, degraded, and debased men, and then a bunch of feminists, Ms. Hyphen, whatever, say, we're all the real men. Well, you've pee-whipped them all.
That's right.
Where they are.
That's right.
That's where they are. And it's really becoming, you ought to read The War Against Boys, because it's really becoming dangerous. I mean, I agree with almost nothing you say, but I tuned in this hour and I said, this is an important topic.
No doubt about it, baby.
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM.
Well, break it down for me.
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-866.
You have that same disease that most women have, okay? You have selective hearing.
I probably do. I like to hear what I want to hear.
I understand that.
The Tom Leykis Show.
The Tom Leykis Show at 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. Thank you for tuning in. It's Lisa on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi, Tom. I love your show.
Thank you.
And I'll make a quick point. I just want to say, do you know any CEOs that are men that are good-looking?
I'm not the kind of person who can judge a guy's attractiveness. I'd be willing to agree with you that most men in business are probably also hideous. But the difference is that attractive women are with homely guys if they've got money and power. Whereas most of these CEOs who are women are single. Because guys don't want to be with them. Guys don't want to be their caddies. You see?
Hello?
I just spoke to you, dear.
I'm sorry, I just lost you for a minute. I have to go make my husband dinner, but there's power in beauty, and there's power in money. And if you're beautiful, you can do whatever you want and get whoever
but if you're homely, you've got to go to college.
That's true. So for all your homely listeners, make money, is my point.
Well, men should make money whether they're homely or not. Women who are homely or fat had better hit the books, because no man's going to pay the bills.
Well, that's true, and I hope they don't. They shouldn't. They should all be equal. It should be honest and equal.
Well, it's not equal, though, dear. It's just not. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. Phoenix on the Tom Leykis Show.
I have a question. I actually tuned in kind of late, so I didn't hear. Where were you getting all this information about unattractive women being more successful than attractive women?
It was a study done by first of all, they started off with a study by 4 British universities regarding IQ and a woman's likeliness of getting married, or likelihood of getting married. And the higher a woman's IQ, the less likely she is to get married.
Okay, so it had nothing to do, it didn't state anything about as far as attractiveness.
All you have to do is look at the pages of Fortune magazine where they show you the most powerful women in business. And they're homely, dear.
So what exactly is your criteria for stating that someone's homely?
Well, dear, if you have to ask, no doubt you are homely. Thanks a lot for the call.
The Tom Leykis Show.